The topic of my special lecture is achieving the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs) through the TVET. We'll discuss these 17 SDGs and how we can possibly achieve some of those goals through the technical and vocational education and training. So this is a session which has been crafted by me. I thought of having this a topic which pertains to the Tibet in whole of the Asia Pacific region, and that is how we are trying to be in touch with the Department of Education in the government of the Philippines to organize a big conference, a 2 days big conference in the month of April next year, 2026, having more than 1,000 participants on exactly on the same topic, basically. Right. The contents of my presentation, or the shall I say the outline for this special lecture is first, which are those 17 UN SDGs. Then where do we currently stand in terms of the fulfillment of the SDGs? Because they started from 2015 and they have to finish by 2030. And we still have only around 6 years left or 5 years left. A brief concept of the TVET, how the TVET can contribute in achieving this UN SDGs. It's an open-ended sort of a presentation. There's nothing which is a finalized. You can also contribute. People are contributing, and it is an open-ended sort of presentation as of now. I'll take up a few case studies also, and then the concluding remarks. Okay. So what are these SDGs? Sustainable Development Goals. SDGs. UN SDGs. Right. The Sustainable Development Goals, also known as the Global Goals, were adopted by the United Nations in 2015. So starting 2015 up to 2030, just 15 years time is here, as a universal call to action to end the poverty. So the major issue is how to end the poverty. That is the very first goal. That means no poverty. In fact, in many of the countries, poverty is a very big problem. Like I come from India. In India, we have a lot of people below the poverty line. I live in the Philippines as of now. There are many people living below the poverty line. People are trying to make their ends meet. And especially after this COVID-19, after this Russia-Ukraine war, Israel-Hamas war, the things have really changed. The cost of living has really gone over the roof. I know my daughters are staying in Canada, and the things have become so expensive over there in almost all the countries. So the last 3 to 4 years, since 2019 onwards, around last 4, 5, 6 years, things have become really, through the roof. Things have become very expensive, and the people who were just at the poverty line, or a little above the poverty line, have also gone down the poverty line. So that is a very important issue to end the poverty, or to minimize or reduce the poverty. Then protect the planet, which is also very important, because we talk about this sustainable. Things should be sustainable. We have to sustain the planet also for the future generations, basically. You see, some people think that, okay, for us, there's no problem. We will pass our lives. But for the next generation, there could be a problem. And nobody knows that. We may come again on the same planet. So it's only for us also, in future also. And ensure that by 2030, all people enjoy the peace and the prosperity. So peace is the ultimate goal of any humankind. Peace, prosperity, no poverty, and protecting the planet. These 17 SDGs are integrated, right? That means they recognize that action in one area will affect the outcomes in another area. So they're all basically integrated. Like when we talk of, let us say, quality education. The quality education affects the sustainability, it affects the poverty, it affects a lot of other issues. So they are all basically integrated amongst each other. And that the development must balance the social, economic, and the environmental sustainability. So there are three things basically: the social, how it affects the society as a whole. In society, there are many layers. There are rich people, there are upper middle, lower middle, poor, very poor people. So how it affects the whole society, economic and the environmental sustainability. Now, these are the 17 SDGs. I'm sorry. We will look at them one by one. Right. The first SDG is no poverty. That means removing poverty altogether, or at least reducing the poverty for some time and then eliminating it completely later on. So end poverty in all its forms everywhere. Everywhere means in the entire globe. We have more than 8 billion people on this globe. So eliminating the poverty in every part of the globe. That is the number one and the most important SDG. The second SDG is zero hunger, which is in a way connected to the first SDG only. End hunger, achieve food security, and improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture. You see, here also the Tibet can play a major role. When we talk of this agriculture in Yemeni, the latest agricultural practices basically we are part of the Tibet also, which can have more, sort of production of wheat, the rice, everything, which results in a sort of zero hunger. The third is good health and well-being. Ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. All ages, right from the childhood till the aged people, for all of them, right? Number four is the quality education, the most important besides the poverty. In fact, this is the most important because the quality education affects all the remaining 16 goals. So ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Inclusive, which the people who are not able to access this education, let them also be part of the education, sort of a scenario. We'll discuss them one by one. I'm just giving first an overview basically. Next is gender equality. Achieving the gender equality and empower all women and the girls. Right now, there is no gender equality. In some countries, it is, of course, it is there. You go to the developed countries, it is already there. But in many countries, the girls and the women, they are at a little, even, getting the money for the same work, even in our households. So they are a little bit, down the thing. So how to have the gender equality? Number 6 is clean water and sanitation. Ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. Sorry. Goal number 7 is affordable and clean energy. Ensure access to affordable, which we can afford. In fact, nowadays, the electricity bills, they have gone really, above the roof. Things have become so expensive nowadays. Reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. Now we talk of the non-conventional sources of energy. We talk of this solar energy. We talk of the wind energy. We talk of the ocean energy. We talk of so many energies right now, and not only the electrical. Number 8 is decent work and economic growth. That is, promote sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all. So this is again one of the very important parameters. In fact, when we talk of the Tibet, I have taken primarily 3 goals: the first, the fourth, and the 8th. First is no poverty, fourth is quality education, and this is the 8th, decent work and economic growth, where the Tibet can make the interventions. We can make the interventions in other areas also, other goals also, but primarily the first, the fourth, and the 8th. That's what I have thought of. But as I said, this is not a Bible which cannot be changed. It's an open sort of a discussion. It's an open lecture. they can always contribute, where the Tibet can contribute for the fulfillment of the SDGs. Number 9 is industry, innovation, and infrastructure. Again, a very important component where the Tibet can also play a major role. So build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation. When you talk of industrialization, the green industrialization, where everything is very green, the green technology, the green manufacturing, the green industries, the green companies basically, and using those things which do not cause any pollution. Like when we want to make, let us say, brick, the brick can be made of even the fly ash also. So the fly ash from all the thermal plants is just going waste. So how to use that fly ash for making the bricks basically for the construction? That is all basically, not only removing the wastage, but also using it in a very proper way. Next is reduce inequalities. Reduce inequality within and among the countries. In fact, nowadays there's a lot of inequalities. You can see very well that we have the developed countries, the developing, and the underdeveloped. So there are many parts of the globe when we talk of the Africa, the sub-Saharan Africa, where things are really in a very bad shape for the last so many centuries. People are not able to come up. So how to have and how to reduce? It may take some time for us to remove the inequality, but how to reduce inequality for the time being. Number 11 is sustainable cities and communities. Make cities and the human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. The whole focus on the sustainability, which can be sustained over the times to come, or the next generations to come, basically. Let us do something which we can sustain for the next generations also, and those generations can also access the same facilities what we are accessing right now. The 12th goal is responsible consumption and production. It says ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns. Goal number 13 talks of, again, a very important area, the climate action. When we talk of the Paris Climate Accord, in fact, the US has recently left this Paris Climate Action Accord, which is really unfortunate. But it talks of the climate action. Take urgent action to combat climate change and its impact. You see, nowadays there's a lot of climate changes taking place. The things which were like in India, the places which were the deserts, now they have the flooding over there. There are snows, over there. The places were complete deserts. So there's a lot of changes taking place. We have so many, the phenomena, the El Nino, and many things are happening. The next 14 is life below the water. In fact, very important for the all these the countries which are near the sea, the island countries basically. Conserve the sustainability, use the oceans, the seas, and the marine resources for sustainable development. In fact, you see the oceans, the seas, they look very good from the top. This very nice blue water. But if you go underneath, there's a lot of plastic which has been dumped over there. A lot of the used computers, the hard disks which have been dumped over there. That's the reality. 15th is life on the land. Protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of the terrestrial ecosystems. So sustainability, manage forests, combat desertification. Desertification means where the areas which are not deserts are turning into the deserts. That is the desertification. And halt and reverse the land degradation and halt the biodiversity loss. Many species have been lost already, and many are more on the verge of extinction basically. So we have to maintain all these things. We are the supreme as humans, but that does not give us the right to kill the other people also, the other species also, and make them extinct. Next is peace, justice, and strong institutions. So promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, provide access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all the levels. And the last is partnership for the goals. Like this program is a partnership. I'm just giving an example between CPSC and the government of Thailand through the OVEC, right? And the training venue, of course. It's like a partnership basically. We are partnering with the LabTech International for our major training programs. It's one of their very valued sort of our partners. We are partnering with many agencies. So partnership for the goals, strengthen the means of implementation, and revitalize the global partnerships for sustainable development. Because every any institution does not have all the resources. We need to partner so that we can save on the resources, right? People have less resources, less human resources, less physical resources, but we can do the partnership, right? Instead of a competition, let us have the co-optation. So it's like a collaborative sort of competition. Okay, so where do we currently stand in terms of the fulfillment of this 17 SDGs? Let us see the exact status as of now. Only 17% of the SDGs targets are on the track to be achieved. That means only 17%, less than 1/5 are on the track. Nearly half are showing minimal or moderate progress, and progress on over a third has stalled or even regressed. So for less than 20%, around 17%, the things are on track as per the the forecast basically by 2030. Nearly half, they are minimal or very moderate, and for 1/3 it is either it is stalled or it is even going down the progress. The early years of SDGs implementation saw slow but steady progress on some critical SDG indicators. But since 2019, the onset of COVID-19, which seems to be more of a man-made pandemic, the national efforts have faced severe global headwinds. Because of this, the cost of living really going very high. COVID-19 was a starting point, and then we had all these wars, so the things have really changed. The COVID-19 pandemic, a growing number of conflicts around the world. We talk of this Russia-Ukraine, we talk of Israel and Hamas and all those areas. We talk of China tensions, all those tensions, geopolitical and trade tensions, then trade sanctions against a lot of countries by the United States, and ever worsening effects of the climate change. The pandemic and other factors led to 23 million more people living in extreme poverty, right? So 23 million people, they came below the poverty line because of the pandemic, and 123 million more suffering from hunger in 2022 compared to 2019. So within 3 years, 123 million people, they were suffering because of the hunger, just within this 3 years, because of this pandemic. And then of course this all this the conflicts. While some health targets have improved, overall the progress in global health has slowed since 2015. In fact, if you see the effect of COVID-19 also, where we had a lot of vaccines, people were having vaccines, you can see the after effects of the vaccines also. Many people are dying, young people are dying, people in their 30, 35, 25 people are dying. They had those effect of the vaccines. So again, it has plus points or it has minus points also. 58% of the students worldwide have achieved minimum proficiency in reading by the end of primary school. 1 in 5 young people are neither in education, training, nor employment. I repeat, 1 in every 5 young people, that means 20% of the young people, are neither in the education, nor in the training, nor in the employment, right? So they are uneducated and they are unemployed. Limited progress on achieving the gender parity in public life and managerial roles, and persistently high levels of violence against women and the girls. In 2022, 9% of the world's population, or 7.12 million people, were living in extreme poverty. Extreme poverty, that means earning less than $1.5 per day, something like that. An increase of 23 million, like I said in the previous slide, 23 million people compared to 2019. So within 3 years, 23 million people, they came below the poverty line. The carbon dioxide levels have surged to 150% above the pre-industrial levels. The public funding for the oil, coal, and the gas production and consumption has more than doubled from 2021 to 2022 within a year only, and tripled since 2015, hindering the progress towards a net zero transition, basically. SDG 4, which is on the quality education, is a key enabler of most other SDGs. This is a very good sign for all of us because we are all in academics. So the education, the quality education, the goal, this is the key enabler which enables all the other 16 SDGs. Unfortunately, the global progress in education has not been fast enough. Only 58% of the students worldwide have achieved minimum proficiency levels in reading in 2019. Some regions, including sub-Saharan Africa, are facing teacher shortages, high student-teacher ratio, inadequate training, and lack of professional development opportunities for the teachers. So that is how the quality of education has really gone down in many parts of the globe, especially in the African region, the sub-Saharan Africa region. Accelerating the progress towards SDG 4 should be prioritized. And this is where we can play a major role, the Tibet can play a major role, as it will have a catalytic impact on achieving the overall 2030 agenda. Because, education is the foundation upon which you can have a superstructure. So SDGs 4 is basically the foundation for the remaining 16 SDGs. In 2022, 15% of the teachers were still not trained according to the national minimum standards in their country. The reports foresee a worsening labor market outlook with higher unemployment and sluggish growth in 2025, exacerbating the income inequality, the equitable pay for women, and decent work for young people. Over 2 billion workers globally were employed informally, not formally, but informally, accounting for 58% of the global workforce. That means out of the 100%, 58% they were employed only informally, not formally. Projections indicate a slight increase in the global unemployment in 2024, with approximately 2 million more individuals unemployed, leading to a 5.2% unemployment rate. So the unemployment is really going up. I have seen this in my country, in India. I have seen in Canada, where my daughters live. The unemployment, it is really going very high. The things are worsening in the days to come. The women and the youth, they continue to, especially with this AI coming into the being. Yesterday I was watching, I think, a YouTube sort of a video where this AI will eliminate a lot of jobs. So we need to be trained in this AI, and this is where this topics which is this program. When we talk of all these technologies, this AR, VR, MR, even this AI is very important, because in the times to come, AI will take up a lot of jobs. Women and youth continue to experience higher unemployment rates compared to their male and adult counterparts worldwide and across most regions. Globally, the young women are still more than twice as likely as young men to be need. Need means not in education, employment, or training. So the women and the girls, they are more in disadvantaged position as compared to the men and the male people. The small enterprises, we talk of this, the micro and the small enterprises face heightened vulnerability, particularly in the low income countries. You see, from where the employment comes, the employment does not come from the big corporate sector. The small scale industries, the tiny industries, the micro industries or the micro companies or the micro firms, basically, they produce more employment. Now, if they are being challenged, employment is going further down. That's the reason. So according to the survey data spanning from 2006 to 2023, only 16.9% of the small-scale manufacturing industries in sub-Saharan Africa had access to the loans or lines of credit compared to 45.4% in Latin America and the Caribbean. If you see, across the regions also, the Caribbeans or the Latin America, the South America, they have more access to all these facilities like loans as compared to the people in the African regions. The civilian casualties in armed conflicts have increased by 72%. You can see the people who have died in this Russia-Ukraine war, and in this Israel-Hamas war. Progress is being made on issues such as reducing the global infant mortality rate, the incidence of HIV infections, and on increasing the access to the water and sanitation, to energy, and to mobilize the broadband. Now let us see some of the figures also. You can see these figures, 17%, the green portion. So 17% of the SDGs are on the track. Only 17%, less than 1/5. 18% are having a moderate progress, the yellow one. The a little light yellow, 30%, they have the marginal progress. The pink one, 18% are stagnating at the same level, stagnating. And for the 17%, the red thing, they are regression, they have gone down basically. So if you see the 17% and the 18%, so 35%, they're either at the same level or they have gone down basically. Now this is the progress per SDG. Like for the goal number 1, which is on no poverty, if you see, it is the entire is yellow. That means the marginal or moderate progress. For the no poverty, there is no green, it's entirely yellow. Moderate progress. For goal number 2, we have a part in green, a part in yellow, a major part in red. What is goal number 2? The goal number 2 is the zero hunger. For the zero hunger, you see, only a little bit is the green portion, almost the same as a yellow portion, but a big portion is the red portion, which is the stagnation or even the regression going down basically. So you can see from here, only for goal number 7, we can see a significant part in the green. Goal number 12 is significant part in green, and for goal number 17, a significant percent in green. The rest is all either yellow or the red portions. So, and we still have only just 5 years left. So out of this 15 years, 10 years have already passed from 15 to 25. Only 5 years are left, and the progress is really slow, very, very slow. Okay. Now let us come to the second part of my presentation, which is on the concept of Tibet. I think we know Tibet very well. We are all basically part of Tibet. This is a very famous statement given by Dr. Kusem Being, Dr. Lords Kusem Being. She was, in fact, now she's no more. She was a lady, a former Minister of Education in the government of the Philippines. In fact, in 2007, I went with her to the Vietnam. We did an international conference over there, jointly over there. And she was a very energetic lady, even at a very old age also. So she gave a statement in one of the UNESCO UNIVOC conferences in Bonn, Germany, and it became a part of their declaration, basically. So it says, if education is a key to the development, then Tibet is a master key, right? Because education has only the knowledge portion, but Tibet has the knowledge, the skills, and the attitudes portion also. It combines the K, the A, and the S, the knowledge, the attitude, and the skills also. So it's like a master key, which opens the doors to poverty alleviation and greater equity, justice, and fairness, particularly for the most vulnerable and marginalized groups in our societies. So TVET is a very important area because when the people become skillful, in fact, with the times to come, with the AI coming into the picture, only the people who are skillful, they will survive. They'll survive. In fact, if you go to all these developed countries, you go to US, you go to Canada, you go to Germany, you go to, Korea, you go to New Zealand, the people who are skillful, they're earning more than the people with the academic paper degrees only. So it's basically the skills which is earning, and TVET is mainly on the skilling portion only. We have a changing role of TVET. We have an old paradigm and we have got a new paradigm. So let us see. The old paradigm says supply-driven approach. That means you train the people, you train the students, and then throw them into the market, into the world of work. Supply-driven. Train them, educate them, and throw them into the industries or the world of work basically. The new paradigm says it is a demand-driven approach. Depending on the demand from the world of work or from the industries. So if the demand comes, only then you train the students, educate students, and then send them to the market. The old paradigm says training for the employment. You train him for 2 years or 3 years, depending on the type of degree or a diploma. So training for the employment, for getting a job basically. Now we talk learning for the employability. It's not training, it's learning. Learning on one's own person basically, right? For employability, because the jobs they keep on changing. One-time employment is not good enough. He has to keep on learning all the time to be employable. And when we say employable has two facets. One is the wage employment. The second is the self-employment, right? So he should be good for not only for getting a job, but also good for setting up his own small-scale industrial small-scale company also. Old paradigm says one-time learning. That means he comes to the college, the TVET schools, the polytechnic, comes and just learn only one time. Now we talk of the lifelong learning. The way the things are changing, the way the technology is changing, every 2 to 3 years, he has to be a lifelong learner. So if you see, I have seen many, colleges and universities in Canada and USA. There the major focus is on learning basically. When the faculty comes, when the professors come, they do not teach everything in toto. They just tell them some certain basic thing and then tell them to go and learn on their own. And then come back and make a presentation before the class. So they are learning on their own and then making a presentation also. So the fear of that stage is also removed, right? The old paradigm says training and focus on the teacher or the trainer. The same thing I'm saying. So it was a teacher who was the most important person previously, but now it is the self-learning and focus on the learner, because you can teach him for 2 to 3 years in the classroom. But when he goes out in the world of work, he has to learn on his own. It's better to make him a lifelong learner. Old paradigm says education and training are separated, right? Education in the classroom, training in the industries. So they are separate. Now we talk of integrating them. You see, we were talking of the industry institute interaction earlier. Then we say industry institute partnership. Now we talk of the industry institute integration, integrating them. There are many models in all of the globe where the industries have been integrated with the institutions, right? The old paradigm only one skill, just one area where he can specialize. Now we talk of the multi-skilling, because one skill may not be good enough for the entire life. The old paradigm says skill recognition based on training period and examination. So he learns for a semester or for a term, gives examinations, and then he can go further. So just training and then the exam. Now we talk of recognition based on the competency and the recognition of prior. Can come who is not even educated, if he can demonstrate his competence in a certain area, you can take his test, you can take his examination. If he can demonstrate, he can get a degree or a certificate or a diploma. The old paradigm says rigid and fixed entry and exit. So rigid, that means he comes, spends 2 years or 3 years, and then he can leave. But now we talk of the flexible and multiple entry and exit. The old paradigm says focus on the informal sector, training them on the formal sector, the corporate sector basically. Now the both formal and the informal, because the informal sector is much, much bigger. Like in India, it is the more than 90%, 92% is the informal sector. In fact, in any country, informal sector is much bigger than the formal sector. So they should be trained to work in both the formal and in the informal sectors both. The old paradigm says training for the wage employment, only for getting a job. Now we talk of wage and self-employment. He can become an entrepreneur also, a self-employed person also. Because when one person becomes an entrepreneur, he needs employment for other people also. Well, like I have trained many people in India who became entrepreneurs. One of my entrepreneur, one of my, the person who became an entrepreneur, he was only a diploma holder from one of the polytechnics. And now he has a tractor manufacturing plant, a big plant, and he's employing more than 5,000 workers, in which he has not only the engineers, the chartered accountants, the MBAs, and a lot of other people. So if you make one person as an entrepreneur, and then he can employ many more people also. The old paradigm says policy and delivery dominated by the state. It is the state which decides. Now we talk of is say they are separate and market driven, depending on the market, what the industry wants for you to train the students. So let the industry, let the world of work, let them determine what you have to teach. Governance dominated by the state. Now we talk of the participatory governance, in which the industry or the world of work and the institutions they join hands together, and then they say participatory governance for the benefit of the students or the graduates. The role of the TVET in SDG is to maintain and sustain a virtuous cycle that links job creation with and economic growth. TVET is a cross-discipline area linked to labor, industry, and the employment. So TVET is a very important area in any country, and that is why we need to focus this TVET sector, where the students they can get the knowledge, the attitudes, the skills, and then they can also fulfill the SDGs also. TVET focuses on the soft technologies such as communication. In fact, you see, I am in the Philippines right now. They have an agency known as the TESTA, which is the Technical Education Skills Development Authority, which controls the entire TVET system in the Philippines. So once I was taking a lecture in one of the TESTA, seminars, and I was talking of this knowledge, attitude, and the skills, the KAS. So then they said, sir, in TESTA we follow not only KAS, we follow the class, knowledge, language, attitude, and the skills. So KLAS, knowledge, which is mainly theory, the language, the communication, attitude, and then the skills. Because they say that when the Filipinos, when they go out of the country, if they go to, let us say, Thailand, they'll speak in Thai over there. Because in Thai, people mostly speak in Thai in their language only. You go to Korea, they speak in Korean. You go to Russia, they speak in Russian. You go to France, they speak in French over there. So the TESTA people, they make extraordinary, TVET graduates. So they train them not only this knowledge, attitude, and skills, but they train them different languages also. The 8 major languages in the world. English is, of course, one of them. English, Chinese, which is Mandarin, and then Korean, and Russian, and French, all this, the thing. So when they go to those countries, so they are very skillful and they know the local language also. So that is the benefit. Like, like if you go to, like if I talk of your country, basically, so I think English need to be promoted. Like in Mongolia, again, extraordinary TVET graduates, but they cannot speak in English. So in CPSC, we are training a lot of Mongolian teachers on English speaking skills. In the next month, in February, we are having a batch of around 10, Mongolian teachers who are coming to the CPSC for English training for 3 weeks. Another batch in June, separate batch again for English training, again for 3 weeks. So because English is like a global language, basically. Everybody should know English. If you know English, you can go to any part of the world and you can survive over there. But if you cannot speak in English, there's a big problem, is there, right? So the communication, language is a part of communication only. So it plays a very important role. The communication the negotiations, and teamwork, in addition to the technical knowledge and aptitude, including the aspects of research in technical and related science, practical skills, attitudes, and learning for understanding. So all this is basically the knowledge, the attitudes or the aptitudes, the skills, the communication, or the language basically. Language is just a small part of communication only. And then the research skills, this thing is really missing. I have seen many, Tibet institution in whole of the world. Research is missing. Research part is really lacking. So how to do the research? How to do the action research? Small researches. You have a small problem, do a small research and solve that problem. It's like an action research, right? That need to be promoted in the Tibet sector. Technical and vocational training, Tibet is critical in addressing knowledge and skills challenges to achieve the SDGs. When you talk of the SDGs, it has two components, the knowledge and the skills, so that Tibet can always address. More importantly, the Tibet can transmit the right mindset and the attitudes among the trainees and the future workforce through well-designed education and training programs, right? Education and training. Education is separate, training is separate. This is a training program, one big training program. Education is the formal classroom, that is education. You offer a degree, you offer a diploma, that is all basically the education. This is training basically, right? So not only in education, but in training also. So we will try to address these three major issues, the three major SDGs through the Tibet, right? We'll address some more also, but primarily these three SDGs through the Tibet. First is no poverty. Second is quality education. The third is the decent work and economic growth. So the first goal is no poverty. That means end poverty in all its forms everywhere. As people acquire the skills needed for employment, they can better support themselves and their families. I was telling earlier also, the skills, if you know the skills, you can go to any part of the world and you can earn over there. Like when I went to Canada to meet my daughters over there, you see, I was taking a bath and I just fell down. So when I fell down, the toilet seat, the commode, it broke. It broke because I fell on it. So we had to call a plumber. The plumber came. He took $200 Canadian dollars just for coming only, and he took around $70 in fixing up the problem. He took 270 Canadian dollars, $200 only for coming, inspecting, and 70 for fixing the problem. So that is part of the skill over there. The people who are good welders, good, like carpenters, masons, the plumbers, they are earning much more in these countries because they're skillful. They have the skills in their hand. So the AI cannot take care of these skills basically. It cannot overshadow the skills. So skills is always in demand. Poverty, exists everywhere, and it's a big challenge. In every country, there's a poverty. Even if you go to, let us, USA, you will find a lot of poverty. USA also, there are certain states in the USA where there's a lot of poverty. The UN SDG aims to eradicate extreme poverty and hunger, that is, people living on less than $2.15 per day by 2030. It's really a utopian task, very difficult to achieve, but we can reduce at least, if not eliminate. See, poverty has got a vicious cycle. See, people have low income. Now people have low income, so there are low savings, no money, so they are just low savings. In fact, in USA, I was again watching some of the TV debates. 70% of the people in the USA are living on paycheck to paycheck. If they get a paycheck, they can survive. If they are not able to get a paycheck, they're not able to survive. 70% people in the global number one country, USA, are living on paycheck to paycheck. So low income, there's no saving, low savings, no savings, low pace of capital formation. That means You do not have the money, you are not able to save the money, you cannot take the latest machinery. No latest machinery, low productivity, and then low income. It's like a vicious cycle. And we need to break this cycle by promoting the TVET and the entrepreneurship. What is the solution? The solution is for poverty, make the people as TVET graduates, technically skillful, knowledgeable, attitude, and then promote this self-employment also as a part of them. So that's the real solution basically. This is again a same same vicious cycle. There's a poverty. We have the poverty. There's a low level of education. People cannot go to the schools. Low literacy, low level of skills. Now you have no skills. You cannot use the latest technology. In addition, we have a rapid population growth in many countries of Asia, Southeast Asia. There's a rapid population growth, inadequate output and food, and then the poverty. So this is a vicious cycle. We need to break the cycle by making people less skilled, knowledgeable, good attitude, and if possible, train them on some self-employment areas also. Now, when we talk of the employability has got two aspects. I was saying earlier also, two different facets. One is the wage employment. That means you're getting a job. And second is the self-employment. When you're starting on your own, basically. Let us take them one by one. Now, let us adopt a strategy, a blue ocean strategy for the employability of the TVET graduates. Now, I was just doing some research on the internet. Now, these are basically the employability skills which are needed for a graduate. The interpersonal skills, very, very important. Interpersonal, the communication, all these skills basically. The technical knowledge, ICT skills. In nowadays, you need to have the ICT skills, very important. Communication, very, very important, If you cannot really communicate with the people, you you may be a fantastic, TVET graduate, but if you cannot communicate, it's very difficult for you. You may become a worker, that is okay, but if you want to go up to the manager level, you have to communicate, talk to the people. So communication is very, very, very important. Management skills, how to manage the people, creativity and innovativeness, and problem solving and critical thinking. So these are the 7 major skills which are required to become the employable, right? Take up this blue ocean strategy to solve this wage employment and then the. Now, what is this? In this strategy, there is something known as a value innovation. That means you have to raise the value, give the value to the buyer. The cost should come. That is known as a value innovation. It's not a technological innovation; it's a value innovation. See, basically, let me explain in a very simple layman's language. What is this blue ocean strategy? Suppose you go to the market and you want to buy, let us say, a laptop or a printer, anything you want to buy, let us say. So there are many companies selling the same product in the market. So there's an intense competition. For the same product, there are many companies making the same type of product. So there's an intense competition. There's a cutthroat competition. So the companies are trying to cut the throat of another company and trying to grab their share in the market. So there's a bloody red ocean, so much of intense competition. This strategy says, do not enter into this intense competition. The cutthroat competition, you do something new, something innovative in which there is no competition. And there's a vast blue ocean in front of you where you can swim, right? That's in a very layman's language, right? Okay. So in this strategy, we have something known as a grid, a 4-action framework. So what is the 4 action? Create something, raise something, reduce something, and eliminate something. Now, when we talk of the employability, the jobs basically, the wage employment, what we can create is the professional competence in the students. The students, they might be knowing the technical knowledge. or the theory portion, but you need a lot of things to become employable. We'll discuss them in the next slides. What can we raise? Networking with the industries, because TVET is nothing without the industries, right? Our students have to go to the industry. Industry is a very open word basically. World of work. Where the students go, they may go to a government sector, they may go to a private sector, they may go to the corporate sector. This are basically the industries, the world of work basically, right? So a very strong network with the industry is required. What can we reduce? The theory portion. I have seen in many countries, the theory portion is almost 70%. It has no meaning. For TVET should be around 30 to 40% theory portion. So major chunk should be on the skills portion, not the theory portion. And what we need to eliminate? The obsolete machinery. In some of the institutions, we have some of the old machines, old equipment, which have no meaning in the current industries. We need to remove them and put the new advanced equipments in these institutions. So let's take some of them one by one. The first was this create professional competence. So there are two clusters. One is the interpersonal cluster, which is again very important, and then the cognitive cluster. Cognitive means the brain portion, the cognitive. Interpersonal, which is more like man to man, person to person, basically. So there are two this thing: work readiness, work habits, and interpersonal skills in the interpersonal cluster. In the cognitive, we have the enterprise, innovation, and creativity, and learning, thinking, and adaptability skills. So you need to inculcate all these traits, all the qualities, all the characteristics amongst the TVET graduates so that they become complete TVET graduates. They become wholesome. They have all the necessary technical knowledge, skills knowledge, or skills expertise, attitudes, everything, communication, interpersonal relationships, how to negotiate, how to bargain, right? How to handle the team together, all these things they need to have. And not only the theory or the skill portion only, right? They need to have all these things basically. Then relation with the industry or the labor market. So we have a TVET institution and we have the employment system or the world of work or the industry basically. So first we train the students, and then first we educate the student, and then for training he goes to the industry. After some time, he comes back to the institution for re-education or retraining, right? It's an ongoing process. It's not a one time, it's an ongoing process basically, right? Let me give a very small example to you. There is a university in India. The name is Baddi. Baddi is the name of a place. It's like a small town, and it is an industrial town basically. Baddi University of Emerging Sciences and Technology in Himachal Pradesh, India. In this university, they are running, a lot of programs. So they have a mechanical engineering program, a 4 years mechanical engineering program, in which the students they spend only 2 days in the university, the remaining 4 days in the industry. Every week for all the 4 years. Only 2 days in the university for teaching or for learning, 4 days in the industry or a company or a firm, and they can change that also for all for within a week for all the 4 years, right? So that is the industry academia integration. They're integrating. It's like a cooperative system basically, right? Cooperative means a part in the institute, a part in the industry or in the company. Like I was talking of, like Canada. In Canada, they have a very famous co-op system, cooperative. So like my daughter did her MBA from there, MBA co-op. So MBA co-op has 7 terms or 7 semesters. They call it as a term basically. Every term is only for 4 months. So 7 into 4, 28 months MBA co-op. So in the very first term, the students they go to the university, they learn over there. In the second term, 4 months, they go to the industry or they go to the company. Third term, they again come back, university. Fourth, they again go back to the industry. It could be different company also. Fifth, again they come back to the university. Sixth, they again go to the industry. And the seventh and the last in the university, and they get a degree over there. So out of the 7 terms, they spend 3 terms of 4 months each. That is a total of 12 months in the industry or in the companies. It could be the same company, it could be different companies also. So for them, getting job is not a problem because they've been trained in the companies or in the industries. So that is like a co-op system, the cooperative system or the dual system basically, right? Let me take one more example. This is the BITS Pilani. Birla Institute of Technology and Sciences in Pilani is one of the places in India. In BITS Pilani, they have a concept known as practice schools. They're offering a 4 years engineering programs like civil engineering, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, electronics engineering, computer engineering, all those things. So they have this 4 years degree programs, and they have a concept known as the practice schools. A practice school for 2 months, a practice school for 6 months. So for 2 months, they go to the industry in one of the vacation breaks, and in the last semester, they spend the entire 6 months in the industry as a part of practice school too. Now that is okay. That's very common. In the BITS Pilani, when they hire the teachers, so around 25% of teachers when they are hired, when they are recruited, they hire them and they put them into the industries. So these teachers, they always remain in the industry only, always. They get the salary from the college or from the university, but they're stationed in the industry on a permanent basis over there. Because when the students they go to for the training over there, these teachers who are stationed in the industry, they take care of these students basically. That's a very good concept. Okay. So TVET contributes to the SDGs by improving this social mobility. By offering a pathway to employment, TVET enables individuals to achieve a high standard of living. Now let us go to the self-employability. First was the wage employment. Now we talk of the self-employment or the entrepreneurship. So when we talk of this entrepreneurship, we talk of mainly the micro, small, and the medium. You see, there are micro or the tiny industries, small scale, medium, and then the large scale, the big corporate sector. So we are not talking of the big industry, we're talking only of the micro or tiny, small, and medium. Because our plan is to train the students to go for these industries. They can set up the micro enterprises initially, they can shift to small scale, they can graduate to the medium scale, right? So this is the MSME sector basically. Now, if you see this SME sector is very important, in any country. I have given some country examples, let us talk of, let us say Thailand. In Thailand, 99.7% of the total enterprises are SMEs. So if we have 100%, 100 number, 99.7% are the SMEs, small and medium enterprises, and not large scale is only 0.3%. And they are employing almost 60% of the population of the labor force. So that means the SME sector has the more potential or the more propensity to employ, the labor force. So that is why we want to promote the SME sector or the MSME sector, micro, small, and medium enterprise sector, because these enterprises, they employ more people as compared to the large scale sector, right? So here we are trying to, what is our BOS or what is our value innovation? We are trying to promote this entrepreneurship inputs in the TVET system. The unemployment is coming down, and that is our value innovation. So by promoting entrepreneurship inputs in a very structured way, in the TVET system, we can bring down the unemployment of the students because they become self-employable. Once they become self-employable, they'll hire other people also. So they will remove other unemployment also. So this could be the grid. We can create the technopreneurs, the technical entrepreneurs, because our people are all technical people. TVET are all technical vocational people. So let us create these technopreneurs through the innovation, research, and the TBIs. What is TBI? The technology business incubators. So let us have these incubators in our institutions, wherein we incubate the young students who want to set up a business. So the people, they come as incubatees, they stay over there for 1 to 2 years, they start a business, a small business, they are protected from outside for 2 years, and then they have to relocate to the other areas basically. And then what is to be raised? Awareness about the women entrepreneurship. No, women are not into the entrepreneurship. In fact, if you see, world over, less than 10% of the women are into the entrepreneurship. The actual figure I'm talking of. On papers, it could be 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%. That's only on papers. So some of the people, they are having this enterprise in the name of the women. So it's not in the male is managing, but in the name of the women, in the name of the wife or daughter or sister, somebody like. But actual figure is less than 10%, because this was my topic of my PhD, women entrepreneurship. So I know the facts. Reduce the traditional project work. We can have the business-oriented project work and eliminate the mindset towards wage employment. When the students, they come to the institutions, they have a mindset to go for a job, wage employment, right? So we have to shift this mindset from wage employment to the self-employment. Even their parents' mindset, we have to shift from the wage employment of their of their kids to the self-employment. Let me give example of again my country in India. In India, when the student goes to any college or any university or any TVET institution, and any college, polytechnic, anything, so once they graduate, they want to go for a government job. So what is the first preference? A government job. The second preference is the private job, right? The least preference is this self-employment. But if you see the growth, it is just the opposite. It's just the reverse. Maximum growth in the entrepreneurship, where we have seen people rising from the ashes to becoming the billionaires. Second most in the private sector. We have seen the diploma holders becoming the vice presidents of the companies also. And the least minimal growth in the government sector, where you can get only 2 to 3 promotions in your entire life career, right? Despite that, the mindset is to go for a government job. We have to shift that mindset from a job to the self-employment, right? Now let us discuss some of them one by one. We were talking of the innovations. Now there are two types of innovations. One is the technical or the product innovation in a product. Second is the business process innovations. So either in a product or in a process, two types of innovations. Now this is like a mathematical definition of an innovation. It's by J.L. Baird, who is known as the innovation equation. He says innovation is creativity multiplied by risk taking. What it means? It means that if you have a creative idea in your mind, in your brain, or in your head, and you take the risk of bringing that idea into the market, it becomes an innovation. That means from your idea, you either make a product or you make a process, you do something, it becomes an innovation. Till the time it is there in your head, it is an idea only. It's a creative idea only. And our TVET, especially our teachers, they're very good in creative ideas, but they lack the implementation part basically. So that is why many of the TVET teachers, students, I have seen some of them, many of them, who have the excellent knowledge and the skills, but they lack this risk-taking capability to go for this self-employment, right? So they're not taking risks. That's a major problem. Now, who is a technopreneur? A technopreneur starts out with nothing but an idea. I am not talking of the general entrepreneurs. I am talking only the technopreneurs, the technically qualified or technically experienced entrepreneurs. He defies existing practices and systems and thinks of doing something differently. Let me give an example of a technopreneur. You see, in my city in India, I have a friend. He he has now become a technopreneur. So how he became a technopreneur, I'll tell you a story. You see, he has two kids who are school-going kids. Now, like in India, when the school bus comes, so there are certain designated places, designated spots from where the bus picks up the students. So they pick up in the morning, they drop in the afternoon or in the evening. So the parents, they go to those bus stops so that the kids, they can go in the bus. When they come back, they can take them home. So normally his wife was taking the kids, the sons and the daughters to the pickup spot. So one day he had to go. So when he went over there, he was just waiting over there, and the bus did not come because the bus had already left and he was late. Now he has no idea whether the bus is going to come or not come. So when he came to know that the bus is already left, he thought of taking this as an opportunity. He thought, let me make an app, in which when the bus moves, you can watch the bus on your mobile. So where the bus is moving in the city, where the bus is right now, you can see in your mobile. And secondly, let me put the cameras in the school buses, so that I can see, I can see my kids also sitting safely in the buses, right? So he had a contract with the government, and then he put all this all these cameras inside the buses and connected them through the app also. So he becomes a technopreneur. That means he saw a problem, he took it as an opportunity, he did reverse engineering, right? He's basically coming back to arrive at a solution which solves that specific problem. So he becomes a technopreneur. So he defies existing practices and systems and thinks of doing things differently. He creates a product or a solution that uses technology to change the way something was traditionally done. So something was done traditionally before, but now people can use technology. For example, the founders of Uber. One second, please. Sorry. The founders of Uber thought that they had an idea of a different way to call a cab. You see, initially we were going to the taxi stands or the cab stands to take a taxi or a cab. Somebody thought, let me create an app. I punch some buttons in my mobile, the cab comes right at my doorsteps. So he becomes a technopreneur, using technology to solve a problem, right? So the founders of Uber thought of a different way to call a cab. They use the power of technology. They built a GPS integrated app and completely changed the economics of the cab industry. Like we have this Amazon, all this online shopping, everything is there. We just press a few buttons and you get the things right in your home. No need to go to the market. No need to go to the stores. Just press a few buttons. You want to buy a shoe, you want to buy some clothes, you want to buy some groceries, anything you want to buy, just click a few buttons on your mobile and things are in your room. They are set up by the technopreneurs. Technopreneurship is a new breed of entrepreneurship. And we want the Tibet graduates to become technopreneurs. So when they become technopreneurs, they remove their poverty and they employ other people also. So a major chunk of the poverty problem can be solved if the people, they can become technopreneurs or even the entrepreneurs. And they are environmentally sustainable. For other entrepreneurs, need to have green manufacturing. If people are not technopreneurs, they can go for green manufacturing, environmentally sustainable, green processes, green products, green technology. So it is environmentally sustainable also. Green machines, green manufacturing, everything. Now we will take up the remaining 4 and the 8 in one this thing only. So the fourth was ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Now, this is very important. And the eighth was decent work. So they are all interconnected basically. Decent work and economic growth. That means promote sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all. Right. Now, if we see the goals which are concerning this T, what I was talking of. 1 second. Okay. By 2030, we have to ensure that equal access to all women and the men to affordable and quality technical TVET, including university, right? Equal access, not only the men, but even the women also, not only the boys, but the girls also. By 2030, substantially, sorry. By 2030, substantially increase the number of youth and the adults. The youth and the adults, you see, not only the people who are young, but even the people who are retired, I have seen many community colleges in USA and Canada also, where the people who are retired, they come back and join the TVET institutions. They gain a skill, and then they can go and work over there. Who have relevant skills, including technical and vocational skills for employment, decent jobs, and entrepreneurship. Increase the proportion of youth and adults with ICT skills by type of the skills. So ICT is very important nowadays because everything is ICT connected, right? So the skills and the ICT, both are important. No, I was talking the same thing only. There are many people who are aged now. You see, in many countries, if you go to Japan, to go to Korea, to many countries, China also, people are getting aged. They are, their lifespan has really gone very high, up to 90, sometimes 100 also. They retire at the age of 60, and they are very active, and they can work. But whatever they had learned, say around 30, 40 years back, it has become redundant, it has become obsolete. So they need to be re-educated or retrained basically, right? So that they can work, for 10 to 20 years more. Because people are okay, people are healthy, people are very active, they need to get some work. But for getting the work, they need to have proper latest qualifications, latest, trainings basically. This is, in fact, we in CPSC, when I was working previously from 2005 to 2008, for 3 years I was here as a faculty consultant. We conducted a workshop, a roundtable workshop in Australia, in Adelaide, how the TVET can help the aging society. So the title was TVET for the aging society. The people who are aged, or who are getting aged, retiring or nearing retirement basically, how the TVET can help those people. Like I was saying, people, they look very young, like even if you see me also, I am 61. My age is 61. But I think I'm only 45, 50 only, right? So I can work for 10 to 20 years more, basically, right? So they need to be re-educated, retrained basically, right? So we did this workshop in Adelaide, and then we had some recommendations over there. And then we came back to CPSC. In that workshop, we had 4 international partners. CPSC was just one of them. So there were 4 partners from across the globe. Then we came to CPSC. We did a regional program on the same topic, TVET for the aging society, in which we got I think around 30 people from 16 member countries, in which we again finalize what the TVET can do for the aging people, how they can be made more, relevant to the present day skills requirement, basically, right? This is the UN report on world population of aging. It says the population aging is pervasive. Pervasive means it is everywhere, because now people are dying very late, but retiring very early. In many countries, you will see only the aged people only, because they are not producing children. The young people, they are not getting married. Even if they're getting married, now we have something known as two types of families. One is the Dink families, D-I-N-K, Dink families. What is a Dink family? We have a husband and a wife, Dink, double income, no kids. So both are working, but no children. By choice, no children. So known as Dink families. So when they grow old, they are becoming old, no young people because no kids. Another is the disk families, D-I-S-K, disk families. Double income, single kid. Both are working, husband is working, wife is working, but only one child, just one child. So when you see after some time, after a few years, you have more of the aged people and no young people or very few young people. So population aging is pervasive, a global phenomena affecting every man, woman and child, but countries are at a very different stage of this process and the pace of change differs greatly. Depending from country to country, the more developed countries, they have more aged population, uh, because the young people, they're not marrying there or marrying and having no kids over there. In countries like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, we have a lot of people producing a lot of people. Like in India, we produce one Australia every year. Now India has overtaken China also in terms of the population. Now India is the number one populated country in the world, 1.4 billion people, or maybe more than that also. And we produce at least one Australia in terms of the child's being taking birth every year. So one Australia is being produced by India every year. So countries that started the process later will have less time to adjust, and population aging is enduring. The population aging has profound implications for many facets of human life. Because when you have this aged people and they are just lying, they're just sitting idle, so it will lead to ill health, health issues, lot of other problems. But if they're working, then they are okay, because when you're working, you feel okay, and you're earning also, right? Now this is the problem being faced by the aged people, like physical problems, disability and diseases, movement disorders, incontinence and emotional loneliness, generation gap, rejections from the family, all these things, social problems, loss of social status. Once you retire, nobody will listen to you. You know, even in your own home, if you're not earning, nobody listens to you. That is a very sad fact. Not in countries like Asian countries, we still respect our elders. But in many other countries, I have seen this in many developed countries, when the person is already retired, not earning, so nobody listens to him. A very, very sad situation. Then inactive life because of retirement and addictions, right? So this is the policy framework which we had made in Adelaide, in Australia, in 2007 in that workshop. So how the TVET and the industries and the government agencies and the SMEs, how they can come together to retrain and reskill the old people, the retired people basically, right? And they become skillful. They can get a job very easily. If they want to become an entrepreneur, they can also become entrepreneur also, right? So this was a very good initiative on the part of CPSE, combining with three major other organizations in the world to, basically how the TVET can help the aged people. So this basically talks of, we have to expand the reach of TVET. You see, there are certain people who are not as a part of the TVET right now. I am saying the same. These are retired people basically. So they were academicians. They were not TVET people. It's a new customers. So bring them into the TVET fold. Like I was saying, in Canada, in USA, they have this community colleges. So in the community colleges, any person who is even beyond 60 or 70, in fact, I have seen myself in the classes, people are sitting who are 20, 22 years old, young graduate, young students, and 60 plus people studying in the same class, the TVET classes in the community colleges. So bring these people also as your new customers and train them also. So community colleges, I was talking of. It is the largest and the growing sector of higher education in the United States. They ensure that people of all socioeconomic backgrounds, from immigrants to the labor workers, to those who have advanced degrees, have access to skills-based education. Anybody and everybody can access to this skills-based education. They play a significant role in developing students for the workforce who are of equal value to the adults and to the traditional students. So for both, they are producing. Right now, there are around 1,200 regionally accredited US community colleges, and 11.5 million students are studying over there. 46% of the all post-secondary students in the United States, they begin at community college. That means after grade 12, 46% they go to the community colleges. 46, almost 50%, right? The alumni include the Pulitzer Prize recipients, chief executives, scientists, governors, US congressional representatives, producers, actors, etc. The classes are taught by faculty with advanced degrees as well as by the instructors experienced in the field. The programs are designed for student success, and the small class sizes, they provide more opportunity for the dialogue. The USC community colleges are at the forefront of healthcare. That means around 60% of the healthcare people, they come from the community colleges. Homeland security, around 80% of these firefighters, all these people, they come from the community colleges. Teachers, nearly 50% of the teachers in the United States, they come from the community colleges, and the environmental sustainability also. Some testimonies. This is by Bill Gates. He says the community colleges have always been driven by what is the most relevant to the employment market. What the employment market needs, you make the people accordingly. You train the students accordingly. By Barack Obama, he says the community colleges are a vital component of our higher education system, serving almost 50%. This number is actually 46%, but nearly 50% of the undergrad students in the United States. The wife of Mr. Joe Biden, who just left as a US president, Jill Biden, she was also a teacher in the community college. So when she said doctor is PhD basically. She says, I have witnessed the firsthand the power of a community college lives, and I think the smaller class sizes, the nurturing environment, and the personal contacts make a difference in supporting students. In my classes, I get to know my students well, and I am able to partner and with each of them to help them succeed. So she was a teacher in a community college, and she's a doctorate, so PhD, right? So these are the three major goals: the first, the fourth, and the eighth. Now I have taken some more goals also where the Tibet can contribute. Like goal number 3, it talks of the good health and well-being. In this, if you see, in the COVID timings, the Tibet people, they really rose to the occasion. We were making, all those PP kits. We were making this masks. So we were making all these things. So that is where the Tibet can also contribute for the well-being also, right? Then gender equality. Here we can also contribute, right? In fact, let me show you some of the statistics. Of the world's 1.4 billion poor people, it is estimated that nearly 70% are women. So 70% of the total poor people in the world are women. Between 75 and 80% of the world's 30 million refugees are women and the children. So the women and the children are always at a disadvantaged position. 2/3 of the 150 million children worldwide who are not in the school are the girls. Majority of the women earn about 3/4 of the pay of a male for the same work. Women make up 31% of the official labor force in developing countries and 47% worldwide. And women are 50% of the humanity. But you see their contribution is less than their population basically. The rural women, They produce more than 55% of all the food grown in the developing countries. The value of the women's unpaid housework and community work is estimated at between 10 to 35% of the GDP worldwide, but it is not being considered. Entrepreneurial potential of the women is largely untapped, with less than 10% of the entrepreneurs in the South Asian region, South Asian countries being the women. Rural women are in a disadvantaged position in terms of access to the services, including education and training. This is a very famous statement by Nancy Reagan, the wife of the former US President Ronald Reagan. She said, "A woman is like a tea bag. You cannot tell how strong she is until you put her into the hot waters." So the women have more capability, more potential as compared to the men also sometimes. This is a statement by the first Prime Minister of India, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. He says, freedom depends upon economic conditions even more than the political. That means if you are earning, only then you are free, right? If a woman is not economically free and self-earning, she will have to depend on her husband or someone else, and the dependents are never free. It's very important for the women and the girls to be financially independent, and they should be part of the global labor workforce. Okay. So the TVET has the potential to promote gender equality by providing equal access to education and training for all the genders, including, of course, the girls. Now, let us talk of the goal number 6, clean water and the sanitation, and goal number 11, sustainable cities and the communities. I'm combining both of them. And what the TVET can really contribute for this goal number 6 and 11. So what we can do is the renewable energy sector, right? The TVET can play a major role for the renewable energy sector. We talk of this solar panels, this solar energy, the wind energy, the ocean energy, the farm energy, a lot of these things are there, right? There we can make a contribution. Waste utilization and minimization techniques. How to minimize the waste and how to use the waste also. I'll give one case study also after some time. Clean technologies or green technologies, which are green in nature, they are not harming the environment, right? Green manufacturing, green processes, green technologies, right? Green products, and disaster management. In fact, I have seen, in even in the Philippines also, the TVET graduates working in the field of disaster management also. When any disaster happens, they are at the forefront. Okay. Now, this is again a spiral of environmental degradation and the poverty. We have the poverty and the hunger. So, vulnerability to the natural disasters because we are misusing, we are cutting the trees, cutting the forests, right? And this is more vulnerability to the disasters. There's environmental degradation and climate change, setback to the environment, sustainable development, and again the poverty. So it is basically it's a vicious spiral is there. If the people are poor, you cannot stop them to cut the trees, to cut the forest because they need to have the wood to have the fire burning in their homes basically. So I think the crux is basically the poverty and how the poverty can be removed by education, right? So I think the panacea is the SDG number 4, quality education. And from there, you can address all the remaining 16 SDGs, especially the SDG number 1, which is on the no poverty. Right. So now how we can, I give one case study, like who is a social entrepreneur. We talk of the general entrepreneurs or the commercial entrepreneurs. We talk of the technopreneurs. We can also make people as a social entrepreneurs, right? Who is a social entrepreneur? any person who looks at a problem in the society sets up a business to solve that specific social problem, right? So the major aim of this setting up a business or an industry is not to earn the profit, but to solve the societal problem. And he becomes a social entrepreneur. A social entrepreneur is someone who recognizes a social problem and uses entrepreneurial principles to organize, create, and manage a venture or a business venture or a startup to bring about this social change. So there are three key components. There has to be a problem in the society or in the community. There has to be a solution which is sustainable in nature, which brings about a social change. Let me take one example of a TVET graduate. This lady, her name is Elvina Rios. She is from Peru, Latin America. I have met this very wonderful lady when I went to the Chile. In fact, there was a UNESCO roundtable meeting, and I represented my country in that Chile meeting over there. And I was met this lady also. Now in Peru, the capital is Lima. We have a different households. People have their houses, so you put the garbage out of the household so that the municipality truck can come and it can carry the garbage. So people, they were putting the garbage outside so that the municipality, the trucks can come and take away this carriage. But the garbage was more, the carrying capacity was less. So 50% of the garbage was not taken by these trucks. And there was a lot of problem of garbage, stinking problem of garbage in the entire Lima, the capital of the Peru. This lady, who is a highly qualified lady, she has done her engineering, her master's and PhD also from 3 different countries of the world. So she thought of setting up a business or an enterprise by collecting this garbage. So she employed certain people. They were collecting the garbage. They were having a like a truck of their own, collecting the garbage and supplying to the companies or the industries who can use that garbage for this thing. So she became a social entrepreneur, right? And right now in 2023 December, she was chosen as one of the federal ministers in the federal government, basically. So based on her good work, social work, she was taken as a minister, country minister at the federal government level also, right? So she becomes a social entrepreneur. So we must try to divert some of the students, our TVET graduates, to not only the commercial, they can go to commercial also, commercial, technopreneurship, and social entrepreneurship also, and then women entrepreneurship also, right? So some became commercial entrepreneurs, some became technopreneurs, some became social entrepreneurs, some became rural entrepreneurs, some became women entrepreneurs also, right? So try to divert them, try to change their mindset from getting a job to becoming a self-employed person. So we were talking about this greening TVET. So what is this concept of greening TVET? It talks of job creation. TVET is essential for preparing the individuals for green jobs, which we can have the green curriculums, right? Which promote green practices, green products, green everything green. Driving employment and sustainable sectors as economies transition to environmentally friendly policies. Curriculum integration, incorporation sustainability into the TVET curricula. That is how where we can help the SDGs by incorporating all those 17 goals into our curricula also. Equip the trainees with the skills needed for responsible resource management and environmentally conscious decision making. Aligning with the green economy. By integrating the sustainability concepts and green skills into the curricula, the TVET programs prepare the learners or the students to work in environmentally friendly industries. For example, sustainable agriculture and eco-friendly construction. sustainable agriculture and eco-friendly construction, where we use the waste material as a part of the construction materials. So by fostering a skilled workforce, the TVET can contribute to sustainable economic growth, supporting the development of a green economy that benefits communities and the environment. Promote industry partnerships, so collaborate with the industry stakeholders that share the same sustainability goals, implement eco-friendly practices, ensure that the TVET institutions adopt sustainable operations such as reducing energy consumption. We can reduce energy consumption in our institutions, use of the LEDs and all the things, and minimizing waste and promoting sustainable transportation options for the students and the staff. Now, CPS is also a green institution. So CPSC has identified 5 dimensions to anchor sustainable development principles among the TVET institutions. These are the green campus. The campus is all green. Green technology programs, green community, green research, and green culture, basically, right? So by adopting all these 5 distinct principles, we can promote the environmentally friendly or sustainable development goals through the cleaning of the environment, right? So we say reduce 3 R's, reduce the consumption, reuse the materials, like we use the, when we take the printouts, we use the reverse pages also. So that is reusing of the materials, recycling of the waste. Like we have a kitchen. So when the waste from the kitchen is used to make like, like that's gas basically, okay, which can be used as a gas. Now, UNESCO, sorry. So what are the challenges? UNESCO UNIVOC has recognized several challenges to reach the SDGs and climate-related plans of action. So the challenges are, number 1, lack of awareness and about sustainability. Now, many people who are uneducated, illiterate, poor people, so they have no idea what is sustainability. So we need to educate them. Low capacity at the level of decision making, teaching and implementation. Shortage in skill resulting in unmet labor market needs. So the people who are skillful in the green things, so they are not there. So that is why the industry cannot use them. Unsustainable patterns of consumption and production, outdated competencies and qualifications, lack of recognition and assessment mechanisms for skills acquired through non-formal and informal training, learning, lack of targeted engagement of key actions, including youth, community, etc. Right. So my concluding remarks: the TVET can play a very vital role in bridging the SDGs with education and employment, while simultaneously addressing these issues on poverty, inequality, sustainability, and unemployment. TVET can be tailored to address these issues by aligning its curricula and the methods with the SDGs and equip its learners or the students or the graduates with the necessary skills for the workforce. Now the question is, can we really do it? That's a major question. Let me give an example, a real sort of example. I think you must have seen a bumblebee. All of you must have seen a bumblebee, I'm very sure. A bumblebee is a bee which is little heavy in weight, but it has got a very small, very short wingspan. Wingspan, very light wingspan, very light wings. So aerodynamically, the bumblebee cannot fly. But the bumblebee does not know the aerodynamics. And so it flies. Right? So this is the bumblebee. And the answer is yes, we can do it through the TVET. Right? TVET can play a very, very major role in addressing the SDGs. Okay. Now, what is the action plan basically? Okay. What could be the action plan? Number one, do this SWOT analysis of your institution. See your strengths, your weaknesses, opportunities, and the threats in terms of the SDGs I'm talking of. So, keeping SDGs in your mind, think what are my strengths where I can really contribute towards the SDGs. Make 1 to 2 SDGs as your mission. Institution was I'm saying, right? Make significant contribution in identifying in the identified SDGs. So take up only 1 or 2 institution wise, do something really remarkable in that area. Prepare a case study and present in a conference or publish in a journal. Let the people know how a TVET institution in Thailand, right, can take up 1 or 2 over there, right? So that could be a good action plan if we have 30 people sitting over here or 40 people sitting over here from say around 40 institutions. If they take up only one SDG per institution, you can really make a lot of contribution basically. Okay. So I think that is all. So thank you so much. With this, I may conclude my presentation. Now we can have some question answer sessions.